Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another prediction video. It is myself and it is Rugbyitch, and we are going to be trying to predict the All Blacks starting lineup and reserves for their upcoming second test match up against Ireland. But first of all, mate, how are you doing? What did you think of the first test, and are you excited for the second?
Yeah, all's good. Very exciting, last week, all the games really, but particularly the All Blacks Ireland one I was really excited for. And yeah, what a performance really from the All Blacks. I mean, they really dominated, I'd say, for a space of 20 minutes within that first half, and also within that second half, they just shut the gates really open down really for the Irish to even come back into the game. So yeah, it was a really impressive performance from the All Blacks, and yeah, a few notable names actually, like with Sevilla, Rico, even like Jordy Barrett. So a lot of good individual performances throughout the day as well.
Although it does make our job a lot trickier for trying to predict the lineup, as you will notice that we haven't got a lot of changes in our starting lineup, but our bench seems to be where most of our changes have come this week. But nonetheless, we will get straight into it. Front row, who have you gone with this week?
So for the front row, I haven't really made as many changes as most people would expect, but I've actually gone with the front row which the All Blacks selected with, not the front row which I actually predicted from the previous video. So I've gone with the likes of George Bower, number 1, Cody Taylor at number 2, and I've gone with the likes of Offerton Fassi to actually come into that starting role once again. So I've made one change there from what I did from the previous week. But yeah, I think it was a good front row to start off really within that Ireland game, and really made an impact early on. So hopefully they'll make the same decision once again.
Okay, so I changed up my front row just a little bit. I feel like you could be correct with them going with the same, but I had to make some change in my lineup because it actually looked pretty much identical to what they had in that first game up against Ireland. So I've gone George Bower, number 1. Number 2, I've actually thrown Dane Coles in as the starting hooker.
That's a big call.
Very big call. Huge call. He didn't play last week either, so he's pretty much, I don't even know what he's doing. What's Dane Coles been up to? We've hardly seen him for the Hurricanes. I hope he's in good form.
He's probably having a beer,
Yeah, but he is going to be my number 2. And then number 3, I have stuck with Offa Fassi. Now the locks, last week I had a shocker, as I had Brodie Retallick at 5, and I had Tupa Va'ai at number 4. This week I have gone with what they went with in that first test match. Brodie Retallick, number 4. And then number 5, Sam Whitelock. Right, so the downfall of recording so early on in the week, as you can see, Sam Whitelock now unavailable for the selection for the All Blacks. So we both got that wrong. Luckily, it was the same, so it kind of cancels each other out. But yeah, a little bit unfortunate that Sam Whitelock's no longer there. Those two in the line out, they were pretty impressive, and also just showing the fact that they are such veterans of the New Zealand side. And it was a very useful performance in that first match up against Ireland. Does yours look exactly the same?
Mine is exactly the same. It's not really, you can't really make too many changes from last week because that duo was just really unstoppable against the Irish. So yeah, I had to go with Brodie Retallick at 4, as well as Sam Whitelock at number 5. So actually no, the other way around. Sorry, the other way around. But I think that's because they normally play. Is it Retallick at 4? I always get this confused, but I think they normally go with Retallick.
Last week you changed and it worked out for you. Who are you?
Do I change them once more? No, I'll keep it the same. I'll keep it the same. I'll keep Retallick at 4, Whitelock at 5.
Okay. We'll see how it goes. Right, loose forward trio. Speaking of locks, Scott Barrett started at number 6 last week.
Yes.
Actually had a pretty decent game.
Yeah.
So the question is, have you kept him at number 6 for this week?
I mean, look, you guys know how much love I have for Kiwi. He's like my guy. But after that performance from Scott Barrett, I couldn't really deny him kind of starting once again. So I had to go with Scott Barrett. He really was impressive throughout that game, and definitely gave an edge for the All Blacks, of course, in terms of the louds. So yeah, I had to go with him at number 6. Number 7, of course, Sam Kane. They're really coming there. Captain Marvel, really. But yeah, he had a good performance as well, really, for the All Blacks, so I had to go with him. And of course, Otisvia, as expected, at number 8.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. The loose forward trio was probably the one that people were questioning the most. Definitely with Scott Barrett, the out blindside flanker. But overall, I think they all played well enough that they couldn't be replaced. And definitely with Sam Kane being captain, the only change I might have made was Dalton Papali'i going into that starting lineup. Or maybe, like you mentioned, Akira at number 6, but I did stick with the same one: Scott Barrett, Sam Kane, and Ardie Savea, which now takes us to the backline. Now this game's being played at Forsyth Bar. As we know, Aaron Smith got a few caps for the Highlanders, doesn't he? So I decided I would keep him there at number 9. And for number 10, I've actually also kept Beauden Barrett in my starting lineup.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. I actually thought you wouldn't do that. I thought you might have got a switch with Mwanga. So for me, I actually went with the same as well. So I went with Aaron Smith as well as Beauden Barrett because I thought you might have been tempted to maybe go Mwanga for this game. But yeah, Smith and Barrett are definitely my combination at 9 and 10 for the All Blacks.
Okay, so now we move on to, we will go the centres next. A couple returns. David Havili and also Jack Goodhue, I believe, are both eligible for selection for this contest, although still no Will Jordan yet for that back line. So have either of those two made their way into your starting lineup?
They have. One of them has made it into it.
Okay.
It's a bold call, obviously, because we just don't know their fitness in terms of, if they'll be available for this second test. But I had to make a bold call, and I've gone with David Havili at number 12 to partner with Rico at number 13. I feel like that's probably the combination which even I thought from the beginning is probably the most strongest combination the All Blacks can go with. I mean, Quinn Tupaia, don't get me wrong, he was brilliant within that first test. Like, he was just it's everything I could ask from him. But I think I have to go with Havili because he proved it within the Super Rugby season with with the Crusaders just how valuable of a player he is. So yeah, I have to go with Havili, and of course, like I said, Rico, outstanding on the day. 2 try-saving tackles. The hand of God, really. But yeah, that's what I've gone with.
He's also one of your guys, isn't he?
Yeah. I mean, we've gone over this several times, but I have a lot of guys who I respect.
That's an interesting statement, isn't it? But yeah, okay. So number 12. I liked your thinking with David Havili, although I didn't go with it. I decided the way that Quinn Tupaia played, he was passing the ball well. I remember that one that he did the quick hands to Whainā-Nuku, and then it ended up leading to that try a little bit later on. So I went with Quinn Tupaia. He had a very good Super Rugby season as well. So I've decided to stick him there at number 12. And number 13, I have gone Rico Iwan. His defense was solid. His running with the ball in hand was probably not as prominent as we thought it was going to be in the back line for the All Blacks. But I like the way that he was passing it on the outside to Sevu Reece and Whainā-Nuku as well. It seemed to be the tactic that the All Blacks wanted to go with. So that is why I've got both of those guys in my centres. Now we go to the back 3 for this one. Like I mentioned, Will Jordan, I believe, is ineligible to be selected. Caleb Clark's still a bit of a question mark with his injury. I believe he is available. So for my back 3, I've gone with an identical one to last week, and that is going to be number 11, Leicester Whainā-Nuku. Number 14, Sevu Reece. And then number 15, I have gone Geordie Barrett.
Okay. So you have made one change, I believe, from last week, because you didn't actually have Leicester in your starting.
No, I went with Caleb. And I learned my lesson.
I learned my lesson to not do that again.
Bitchy's in the starting lineup now, just to mess with me. It's like your Braden Ennor situation, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, we'll get onto that later. But yeah, same with you. I had to go the same, kind of back 3. I mean, they were really just good together, and obviously with the absence of Will Jordan, it's kind of like what you have to go with. So yeah, like you said, Leicester 11, Reece at number 14, and of course Geordie Barrett's at number 15. So
okay, so I've got one change in my starting lineup. I believe you mentioned you've got 2.
I've got 2, yes. Yeah, with Ofa Tungafasi and David Havili.
Have to wait and see whether or not they do go with a very similar lineup. I know Ian Foster was talking about it in one of his press conferences or one of his interviews that he is trying to have a lot more, I guess you could say, regularity in his starting lineups this year rather than just picking and choosing randomly. But I think that's probably a bit of Joe Schmidt.
I agree with that as well. That's what I was going to say. It's a bit with Joe Schmidt because he wants to test every player within the environment. So yeah, I do agree with Ian Foster in that sense where he needs to kind of build chemistry more throughout this All Blacks team, obviously with the World Cup, obviously next year. So yeah, understandable.
It's getting close, isn't it? Are you going to be heading to France, perhaps?
I will be heading to France for that. So yeah, I'll be very excited for that. I'll be watching the Springboks actually for their kind of group stage as well as the quarterfinal, I believe. And what I'm so excited about that quarterfinal is that if obviously there's a big if, but if they do come first in their group, they will either face the All Blacks or France most likely in that quarterfinal. So I'm just going to be that's going to be really excited towards that one. But that's a long way to go. So I'm not trying to think about that at the moment. But yeah.
Oh, well, at least you get to see New Zealand or France make it through to the semis.
Exactly. That's what that is.
We're World Cups, scary things.
We'll see what happens.
But they say a game can be won by your bench. And looking at our benches now, 16, 17, 18, who have you got there, and are there many changes?
There is actually some changes here. I've actually gone with Dan Coles at number 16. So I've actually excluded Samasoni Takalaho, which is a big call to say the least.
It's interesting that we both did that.
Yeah. It's one of those like where I think we're both in the same mindset. We're like, what's happening with Dan Coles? Like he must be like fully fit at the moment. They're just like waiting to put him in. So I feel like I feel like he deserves a mention, and that's kind of why I've gone with the number 16. For 17, obviously I've gone with Carlton Lafe. I believe he was a really good player coming off the bench, and obviously he's known as the impact player, really for the Blues in most games, and he did the exact same thing for the All Blacks in that first game against the Irish. And yeah, he's brought in there to obviously help with the scrum. So I think he's definitely a good player in that sense. But yeah, for the last position, of course, I've gone with Nebula Lala. So that is it's a tight call because I could have gone with Angus Talval, but I chose to go with Nebula Lala because he wasn't included within the last lineup. So I believe he may be included this time, I'm hoping.
Alrighty, so I have gone number 16, Cody Taylor. So he is my replacement hooker due to Dane Coles being in that starting lineup. Then the next name that I have got, it is identical to yours, Karl Tuanoki-Afi at number 17. And then number 18 is identical to yours. It is Nepo Lalala, who I'm giving the opportunity to at number 18 as well. I was surprised not to see him last week, to be honest. I thought he would get selected over Tarval, but
yeah, same
I think this week should get himself the opportunity. But now looking through at the rest of the replacement forwards, number 19, I've actually gone with what they went with last week. Peter Gus Sawakula. He's got that kind of versatility of being able to play lock, and also he actually came on and played a bit of number 8, which was very handy for him coming off the back of that scrum on debut like a beast and scoring himself his debut try. So I decided to leave him in there. And then number 20, I have gone with Dalton Pavali.
Whoa, big call that. Very big call. That's a wow. Surprise of that. Is he available? Is he actually available for this test?
Oh, he played in the last one off the bench, so I assume he's got half a shot of making it in. Although, I mean, depending on number 20 for you, maybe you've also got a man who's a bit 50-50 for whether or not he's going to be match fit. One of your guys.
Yeah. So for the number 19 position, I believe I actually haven't gone with Peter Gus Simakula. I mean, he's one of those players who I didn't actually expect him to actually get brought in within that first test. I thought it would actually be the second test where they may introduce him. But for I believe that 19 position, I actually went with Akira in that position. So it's a bold call, but yeah, I mean, yeah. It's a very bold call because we'll see what happens there. But for number 20, I've gone with the likes of Hoskins Satutu. So it'll be interesting to see because he's one of those players who I'm actually only selecting him because it's similar to like Dan Coles. I just don't know what's happening. So I feel like I can cover that with with putting him on my bench. So yeah, it's a very bold call, obviously, because I haven't gone with the likes of Tuba Valai as well as Simakula. So I could, that could be a bad decision, looking back at this, but we'll wait and see what happens.
So you've got 2 Blues players in there. No Chiefs.
I knew you would. That had nothing to do with it. I'll tell you, that had nothing to do with it. I was always going to choose Akira, by the way. I was always going to choose Akira no matter what. So 2-2, it was really a 50-50 split. So I can understand why maybe a Blues, kind of loyalty might be seen there, but that wasn't the case. Not the case at all.
Okay, speaking of Blues loyalty, number 21. Who have you got there?
No, I haven't been loyal. I've gone with, because we're playing at Dunedin, like you said, I've gone with the duo of Smith as well as Falal Fakatava. I believe this will be the first time they introduce him. It's a perfect time, really, because it's kind of his stomping ground. And yeah, I think he'll make the impact off the bench, kind of what we expect and what we've seen from the Highlanders. So yeah, going with number 21. Number 22, I've gone with Rich Mwanga. So I've actually switched my mind. Obviously, last week I went with Stephen Perifetta, which, looking back, probably not the best choice because, just wasn't included at all. But, yeah, I think Rich Mwanga is just more of a safe option, so have to go with him. And for the number 23 position, before I go into this, you will not convince me into going with someone else. I'm going to stick to this. Yeah, I'm very sure. Because guys, if you don't know, this guy here, he switched my mind, and I'm a bit broken from that. So I'm going with Quintapaya. No, I'm locking that in. And yeah,
you sure?
Yeah, I'm very
good
sure.
Choose available. Maybe Roger Tuivasa.
Maybe RPS. Oh, well, I do. No. I've made up my mind. That's it. Quintapaya. That's it.
Okay. Right. So number 21, I agree with you. I've gone for Lau Fakatava in Dunedin. Got to give him a crack. If there's ever a time to do it,
it's now.
It's at Forsyth Bar. Number 22, I've also got Richie Moonga as my replacement fly half. And then number 23, I've got a centre, but it's not Quintapaya because he's in my starting lineup. It's not Jack Goodchew because he is not in my team. It's not Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. He does not make his way in.
Okay.
David Arveli is my number 23 cover centre. Also can cover that kicking tee if need be, and could replace Geordie Barrett later on in the game if they do have any sort of injury.
Exactly.
In the matchup. So I have gone with David Arveli as my number 23. So not a lot of changes for either of us in this lineup, but still just enough to create some uncertainty in who is going to be able to win this week. Are you confident?
What, like for my lineup? Because or the game? I mean, the lineup, not so confident. For the game, I'm very confident the All Blacks will win. So, yeah, we'll see what happens towards this lineup because knowing Ian Foster, he'll probably put like 10 changes maybe for this game that we just won't expect. But we'll see what happens.
Draft an Ethan de Groot. Give him a go at Forsyth Bar.
I'm not sure that'll happen, but maybe you never know. You never know.
Give Mark Talia a run since he's in the side, maybe. Replace Sever Reese. Tell you what, that isn't actually the furthest away from a possibility, is it?
Yes. No, by the way, I'm so surprised they actually went with him. Like, obviously, more than happy as a Blues fan to actually, for him to be selected. And this is where my loyalty comes in. Like, I'm so happy that he got selected because I've watched, so much of, his kind of just input within the Blues, and he's just been, just really consistent. So I understand why the All Blacks have selected him, but again, he's more there just for like injury cover. So I just can't see him maybe playing. But still to be called up is obviously a big part on him. So obviously, good achievements in that sense. So fair play.
Oh well, nonetheless, we will get to find out the side. We're actually filming it quite early this week, so we do have to wait a couple of days. So we'll be sitting there, waking up at 4 a.m. going, "Oh, I should have put him in."
Or was there another injury?
Oh, that's the worst when you have someone and the headline comes through, such and such out for the season. We miss you, Ethan Black.
All Blues players are out with COVID.
Well, it was the Crusaders, wasn't it, last week? Maybe it is turn for the Blues. But nonetheless, we do thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy and you are enjoying this series, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Also, be sure to check out Rugbyitch for his channel as well. But nonetheless, thank you all very much for tuning in, and we will see you all for the next one.
Oh, just 1 second, by the way. Just low battery just on my computer. I'm just gonna charge it right. I'm just gonna put my charger in. I was like, no, don't cut off. Nice.